Dark smoke rose from the ruins of the city. The sky was filled with the sound of enemy ships. The people on the ground ran for safety, but there was nowhere left to hide. The enemy, called the Jarnak, had come without warning. They were tall, grey-skinned beings with glowing red eyes. Their ships flew low over the ground, firing beams that turned buildings into dust. Alina Brooks stood in the center of the broken street. Her face was dirty, and her hands were shaking. She held a small radio in one hand and looked up at the sky. The signal had gone out hours ago. The rest of the galaxy had been silent. No help was coming. The Jarnak had taken the planet's cities, one by one, and now they were closing in on the last human holdout. Alina pressed the button on the radio again. Her voice was dry and tired. "This is Colony 12. We are under attack. If anyone hears this, we need help. Please, we can't hold much longer." There was only static. She let go of the button and looked around. Broken walls, dead trees, smoke and silence. Children cried in the distance. The soldiers were few and tired. Their weapons were old. They had no real chance. In a small shelter behind the street, Captain Nathan Cole leaned over a table. A map of the colony was spread. Out in front of him, his short brown hair was messy, and his eyes were hard with worry. He had been a soldier for most of his life, but this war felt different. This was not a battle to win. It was a fight to survive. "They've cut our supply lines," said a young man beside him. His name was Brian Ward, one of the newer soldiers. "We have no fuel for the defense drones. Most of the guns are dry." Nathan nodded slowly. "We hold as long as we can. Evacuate the children to the caves in the north. Keep the wounded inside the old station." Brian hesitated. "Sir, ... what about the call for help?" Nathan did not answer right away. He looked out the small window. Jarnak ships were flying in the sky, like birds ready to strike. "No one's coming," he said. "Earth left us long ago. The Union doesn't care. We're alone." In another corner of the colony, 2 engineers worked on a broken turret. The older one, a woman named Karen Long, wiped her hands on a dirty cloth. "This thing is done," she said. "Even if we fix it, we have no power cells." The younger engineer, Josh Martin, looked up. "What if someone still hears us? What if Earth sends a ship?" Karen gave a sad laugh. "Kid, Earth doesn't even know we exist anymore." Far above the planet, in the cold space beyond the moon, a single Jarnak command ship watched the colony. Inside the dark halls of the ship, Commander Rulak stood before a screen showing the human colony. "They are broken," he said to his second-in-command. "Their will is weak. The final strike will come soon." His second nodded. "No other. Humans have come to help them. No fleet, no warning. They are truly alone." Rulak gave a cruel smile. "Then they will fall, and the planet will be ours." But he was wrong. In the deep space beyond the known systems, a silent armada moved. It was large, silent, and full of power. Ships shaped like long spears and sharp. Blades flew in perfect lines. Their lights were cold and blue. Their hulls were black like night dot. At the front of this force flew the warship named Liberty Flame. Inside the command deck, Admiral Laura King stood tall in her dark uniform. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with fire. "We got the signal," she said. "It was weak, but it got through." A young officer at the console nodded. "Yes, Admiral. Colony 12. They're still fighting." Laura looked at the screen. It showed the planet, small and covered in red markers. Set course, she said. Full speed, prepare all weapons. No one takes what belongs to Earth. The room filled with energy. Officers stood ready. Pilots checked systems. Soldiers stood in rows, ready for battle. Earth had stayed quiet for too long. But now it would answer. Back on the colony, Alina looked up again. She thought she saw something move in the sky. A shape, a light. She blinked, unsure if it was real or if her eyes were playing tricks. Then the clouds broke. A single ship broke. Through the sky, sharp and black, like a shadow with fire under its wings. Then another, and another. The Jarnock ships turned in surprise. The human soldiers stopped and stared. Nathan Cole stepped out into the open and looked up. His mouth opened, and for a second he forgot the fear. "Is that ... double quotes," Brian began. Nathan nodded. "That's Earth." The ships flew in fast. They came with force and fire. Beams of blue light slammed into the Jarnock ships, one after another. The enemy burned and fell. The sky turned bright. The air shook. The people on the ground cried out. Some screamed. Others just stood and stared. For the first time in many weeks, they felt something they had forgotten. Hope Admiral Laura King stood. On the bridge, eyes locked on the battlefield. "No more silence," she said. "No more running." Earth had come, and it had come with strength. Asterisk, the Jarnock ships reeled from the sudden attack. Their red beams fired wildly, but the human armada moved with skill and power. The ships cut through the enemy like knives through cloth. Explosions lit the dark sky. Pieces of metal fell like rain. Captain Nathan Cole watched from the ground. His eyes were wide and his heart raced. He could not believe what he saw. The humans had been left to die, but now their own kind had come back with fire. He felt a strength inside him that had been gone for months. Alina ran toward Nathan, her face full of hope. "Look," she said. "They came for us." Nathan nodded. "We have to hold the line. They will land soon." Far above, the warship Liberty Flame moved closer to the planet. Admiral Laura King stood at the command window. She could see the small colony fighting for its life. "We must stop the Jarnock from destroying everything," she said. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Mark Wells, checked the systems. "Shields are strong. Weapons ready." Laura turned to the pilots. "Prepare for landing. We take back this world." The landing was not easy. The Jarnock still fought hard. Their fighters swarmed the human ships, trying to stop the reinforcements, but the Earth pilots were skilled. They flew fast and true, dodging enemy fire and striking back with deadly beams. On the ground, the human soldiers and the engineers worked to repair what they could. Karen Long and Josh Martin fixed weapons and helped the wounded. The colony was far from safe, but with the Armada's arrival, their chances grew. Alina found a group of children hiding in a cellar. Their faces were pale, but their eyes shone with wonder. "Look," Alina said softly. "Help has come." A small boy named Tommy reached out to touch her hand. "Will they save us?" Alina smiled for the first time in days. "Yes, they will." The fight in the sky grew louder. The Jarnock commander Rulock was furious. He sent more ships to attack the humans, but the Earth Armada was ready. Their ships moved like a wall of steel. One by one, the Jarnock fighters were destroyed inside the colony's command center. Nathan and Brian watched the battle unfold on a small screen. "We have to get the civilians to safety," Brian said. "If the Jarnock break through here, it's over." Nathan agreed. Send teams to the caves. Get everyone out. Outside, the first human landing ships touched down. Soldiers poured out with guns ready. They moved quickly through the streets. Pushing back the enemy, Alina joined a group of soldiers. She carried supplies and helped the wounded. Everywhere she looked, people fought with new hope. In space, the Armada sent down heavy weapons. Large cannons fired bright blue beams that cut through the Jarnock ships. The enemy's command ship shook under the attacks. Rulok shouted orders, but his forces were losing. "Fall back," he cried. "We will regroup and return stronger." But Laura King was not done. She gave the order to pursue. "No mercy," she said. "They will never threaten Earth again." The battle raged for hours. The colony was damaged, but the humans held. The Jarnock retreated, leaving burning ships behind. As the sun began to rise, the sky cleared. The humans looked up at the stars with tired eyes. Nathan walked beside Alina. "We thought no one would come," he said quietly. Alina looked at the Armada still orbiting the planet. "They came," she replied. "Earth's mightiest Armada." The soldiers began to gather, tired but alive. The long fight was not over, but now they had a chance. Far away, on the Liberty Flame, Laura King prepared for the next move. "We saved a colony today," she said, "but the war is just." The Earth fleet flew above the planet Virulon like silent giants. The battle in the city was over, but the mission was not finished. The last enemy bases were still active in the northern mountains. The Zarkathi had hidden there, hoping to strike. Again, Captain Laura Brooks looked at the map on her screen. Red marks showed the enemy positions in the high lands. Green marks showed her units moving into place. "All teams are ready," said Commander Alex Ward. "We begin the final push at dawn." Laura nodded. "No mistakes. We end this today." Down on the ground, Lieutenant Nora Blake prepared her soldiers. Cold wind blew through the camp. Snow covered the mountain paths. She looked at her team. Their faces were tired, but strong. "The enemy is trapped," she said. "They have nowhere to run. Stay sharp and follow orders." The sun rose slowly behind the mountains. Light touched the white peaks. The humans moved like shadows, careful and silent. They climbed rocks, crossed narrow paths, and watched the skies. Suddenly, gunfire broke the silence. The Zarkothi had seen them. "Take cover," Nora shouted. The team moved behind rocks and returned fire. The enemy had strong defenses. They used heavy guns and had built walls around their last base. But the humans had a plan. From above, the horizon launched guided bombs. They hit the enemy gates with force. Smoke and fire rose into the sky. Nora and her team used the moment to charge forward. They broke through the outer walls. The fight inside was fast and brutal. Zarkathi soldiers screamed and fired, but the humans pushed through. Commander Ward joined the battle from the east. His team cleared the last towers and sent out the signal. "Base is falling." Back in space, Admiral Jonah Briggs received the message. He gave a simple order: send full support. Bring them home. Ships moved to land. Medics and engineers followed behind. The last Zarkathi base was taken. Many enemy soldiers surrendered. Others fled into the hills. But the battle for Virelon was finished. The people of Virelon came out of hiding. They walked the streets again. Some cried, some hugged the human soldiers. Many just stared in silence. They could not believe they were alive. Captain Laura Brooks stood near a large building that had once been a school. Children played in front of it now. Virellan, doctors and human medics worked together inside. "We did what we came to do," she said to Alex. "Yes," he said, "but this is only the start." Nora helped an old Virellan man fix his broken roof. She climbed up with tools and worked beside him in the sun. He smiled and handed her a drink. "You were different than the others," he said. "We're human," she replied. "We protect those who can't protect themselves." News spread across the galaxy. The Battle of Virellan became a story told on many worlds. People learned that Earth did not look away when others were in pain. They came with fire and skill, but they also came with kindness. In the great hall of the Galactic Council, leaders spoke in hushed voices. "Earth has power," one said. "They also have hearts," said another. Some feared what Earth might do next. Others wanted to join them. Offers of peace and friendship came from distant worlds. But Earth stayed silent for now. Back on the horizon, Admiral Briggs called a meeting. "We won a great victory," he said. "But there are still other worlds in danger. We cannot stop here." "What do we do next?" asked Captain Brooks. Briggs looked at the stars outside the window. "We prepare, we build. We form a new alliance with those who are willing to stand with us." A new group was born. Not just humans, but also Virellans and others. They called it the Free Worlds Union. It was small at first, but strong in spirit. Earth had changed. It was no longer the forgotten planet. It was the shield and the sword for those in need. Nora stood beside her ship as it prepared to leave. Virellan children waved at her. One of them gave her a small flower made of glass. "Thank you," the child said. Nora smiled and placed the flower in her bag. "Keep growing strong," she said. The Earth fleet rose from the planet one last time. Engines burned bright. Ships flew into the stars. As they left, a message echoed across the galaxy. They thought no one would come, but Earth came, and they will come again. In the dark space between the stars, the Armada flew together, ready for the next call, ready to protect, to fight, and to show that humanity, once ignored, was now the hope of many worlds. The Earth fleet did not rest for long. After the victory on Virellan, the crews worked hard to repair their ships and restock supplies. New names joined the Free Worlds Union, and messages of thanks came from many planets. But not all messages were friendly. A signal arrived from deep space. It was short, sharp, and dark. "We saw what you did on Virellan. You are next." "Captain." Laura Brooks stood beside Admiral Briggs as the message played again. "Do we know where it came from?" Laura asked. "Somewhere near the edge of the Cora Belt," said the Admiral. "A system not marked on old maps." Commander Alex Ward entered the room. "We should check it out. If there's danger, we must face it now." Briggs nodded. "Prepare your scout fleet. You'll lead it soon." A smaller group of ships left the main armada and entered the edge of the unknown. Nora Blake was on board one of the scout ships. She looked out at the stars, feeling a chill in her chest. "Something about this place feels wrong," she said. Her pilot, Lieutenant Carter, glanced at the scanner. "I don't like it either. We're being watched." Strange shapes moved on the edge of the radar. They did not respond to calls. They followed, then vanished. The humans stayed alert. Then they found a planet. It looked dead from space. No green lands, no blue oceans. Just dark rock and storms. but there were lights below. "We're not alone," Carter said. Alex's voice came through the com. "Prepare for landing. Keep it tight. Don't trust anything." The ships touched down on the edge of a ruined city. The buildings were tall but broken. Statues of strange creatures stood in silence. The air was heavy. The wind made no sound. Nora led her team through the empty streets. They found signs of battle, burned walls, old bones, broken machines. "What happened here?" Mason asked. "Looks like someone tried to fight," Nora said, "and lost." Then they heard it. A voice, not from a person, but from the shadows. "You should not have come." Suddenly, black machines rose from the ground. They had no eyes, no mouths, just smooth metal and deadly weapons. "Fall back," Nora shouted. The team fired, but the machines were strong. One soldier fell. Another was pulled away. The rest escaped back to the ship above. Alex gave the order. Everyone returned to space. This is not just a lost world. This is a trap. The scout fleet took off fast. The machines did not follow into space. But the message was clear. On the horizon, Laura looked at the reports. Her eyes were hard. "We faced the Zarkathi. We can face this too. But we need help." Admiral Briggs agreed. "We call the Union. Every world, every ship. We prepare for war." Across the galaxy, the message was sent. "Unknown enemy spotted in the Cora belt. We must stand together. Join us." Some worlds answered at once. Others feared what was coming. But, one by one, they sent ships, soldiers, and supplies. Nora stood with her team again, now back on her own ship. "They thought we would run," she said, "but we never run." Private Mason checked his weapon. "We came to help. Now we protect more than one planet. We protect them all." In deep space, the machines watched. They had waited a long time. They had broken other worlds. But they had never faced Earth. Not yet. And as the stars turned and the ships of the Free Worlds Union moved together, a new chapter was starting. The fight for Virilon was over. But the war for the galaxy was just beginning. The Earth fleet moved through the dark space toward the planet Virilon. Dozens of warships flew together in perfect formation. The stars outside looked cold and quiet, but inside the ships, people were busy and alert. On the command ship horizon, Captain Laura Brooks stood on the bridge. She looked at the glowing screen that showed the planet still many light minutes away. Commander Alex Ward walked beside her. He looked tired but focused. "Scanners show no signs of detection," he said. Laura nodded. "Good. We need the element of surprise." They had left Earth only days ago, but the journey already felt long. Tension hung in the air. Everyone knew what was waiting on the other side of the journey. The Zarkothi were not just any enemy. They were cruel and showed no mercy. Stories of destroyed cities and captured colonies had reached Earth months ago. Down in the lower decks, Lieutenant Nora Blake checked her gear. She was part of the ground force. Her job was to lead her unit once they landed. She tightened her gloves and looked at the young soldiers around her. Many of them had never seen real battle. "You all trained hard," she told them. "Stick together and watch each other. We're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for people who are crying out for help." Meanwhile, on the bridge, a new report came in. A scout drone had returned. It showed images of the Zarkathi fleet orbiting Virilon. Their ships were large and strange, with curved designs and dark metal. There were more than expected. "They brought reinforcements," Alex said. That means they're planning to finish the invasion, Laura replied. Admiral Jonah Briggs appeared on the communication screen. His face was serious, but calm. "You've seen the report," he said. "Yes, sir," Laura answered. "We need more information. We can't attack blindly." "Agreed. Send 2 more drones. Get close to their capital ship. We need to know who commands this force." The drones launched silently into space. Hours passed. The crew waited. Tension grew heavier with each moment. Some soldiers played cards or looked at photos from home. Others cleaned weapons or sat quietly. In the mess hall, Nora sat with her friend, Private Mason. He was nervous and kept tapping his foot. "You'll be fine," Nora said. "What if I freeze up?" he asked. "Then you'll listen to orders and do what you trained for. You're not alone out there." Back on the bridge, the second drone sent back data. It showed the inside of the enemy command ship. Dozens of Zarkathi moved through narrow halls. The leader was a tall creature with silver armor and red eyes. He spoke in a deep voice that sounded through the speakers. "This world will fall," he said. "No one is coming." Laura clenched her fists. He's wrong. The time had come to act. The Earth fleet moved into final position. Ships powered up weapons and adjusted their shields. Ground units got into their dropships. The plan was clear. Hit the enemy hard and fast. Break their fleet. Take back the planet. Nora stood with her team inside the dropship. The engines hummed. The lights turned red. "Ready," she said. "Ready," the others replied. Above them, the horizon moved forward. Other ships followed. The stars flashed as their engines pushed them closer to the enemy. Suddenly, alarms rang out. "Enemy ships moving," a crew member shouted. "They see us," Alex said. "Then it's time," Laura replied. The battle had begun. Lasers and missiles lit up space. Explosions flashed across the darkness. The horizon shook as enemy fire hit its shields. Laura gave rapid orders. Focus on their command ship. Take out their sensors. The Earth ships moved like a swarm. They dodged attacks and returned fire with deadly aim. One by one, enemy ships broke apart. Dropships raced toward the planet. Nora felt her stomach turn as they entered the atmosphere. Outside, she saw smoke and fire rising from the cities below. The dropship landed hard. The doors opened. Nora and her team ran out, weapons ready. Alien buildings surrounded them. Zarkathi soldiers fired from rooftops. "Cover fire," Nora shouted. Bullets and lasers flew in every direction. The ground battle had begun. Humans fought with skill and heart. They took back street after street. Back in space, the horizon closed in on the Zarkathi command ship. Laura stared at the enemy leader on the screen. "Fire all forward weapons," she ordered. A blast of energy hit the alien ship. It cracked and broke apart. The enemy fleet began to fall back. Cheers rose across the bridge. "We did it," Alex said. "Not yet," Laura replied. "There are still soldiers on the ground. We finish what we started." Hours passed. The city was almost free. Nora led her team into the last enemy base. Inside, they found captured Virilons. The aliens looked scared and weak. "You're safe now," Nora said. The battle was won. The humans had come when no one else did, and they had not come with empty hands. They came with fire and courage. The message was clear. Earth was not alone anymore, and no enemy would forget that. Asterix smoke rose over the broken city as the sun began to rise on Virilon. Streets were filled with the remains of burned vehicles and damaged buildings. The air smelled of ash and dust. But even in this destroyed land, hope had returned. The humans were here, and they were winning. Captain Laura Brooks stood on the bridge of the horizon. Her eyes watched the large view screen showing the battlefield below. She gave quick orders to support the ground forces. "Send 2 gunships to Sector 5, she said. "Commander Ward needs air cover." "Yes, Captain," the officer replied. Commander Alex Ward was on the ground with his squad, moving through the city ruins. His uniform was dirty, and his arm had a shallow cut, but he kept going. His voice came through the comm system. "Zarkathi forces are regrouping near the central tower," he said. "We need a direct strike." The horizon locked onto the target and fired. A bright beam of light cut through the air and struck the tower. The top exploded in flames. Zarkathi soldiers ran in all directions. Lieutenant Nora Blake and her team moved. Through the streets close to that area, her boots stepped over cracked pavement. She saw signs of Virilon life everywhere. Doors broken open, toys left in the dirt, and paintings still hanging on cracked walls. "These people didn't stand a chance," Nora said quietly. "They do now," said Private Mason, staying close behind her. Gunfire echoed from the north. Nora raised her weapon and signaled her team. They moved fast, staying behind rubble and burned-out cars. The enemy had taken over a large building and used it as a stronghold. Nora threw a flash grenade through a broken window. Seconds later, her team rushed inside. Blasts of light filled the room. The fight was fast and hard. In minutes, it was over. The enemy inside had fallen. A virulent child hid under a table. She looked up with wide eyes. Nora knelt down and reached out her hand. "You're safe now," she said. The child took her hand slowly. More virulents came out of hiding. Some cried, some looked shocked. But they all looked at the humans like they were something more than soldiers. They were protectors. Back in orbit, Admiral Jonah Briggs watched the battle reports come in. The Earth fleet had destroyed more than half of the enemy ships. The rest were trying to escape or fight back in small groups. "Push them back," the Admiral said. "Do not let them regroup." Several human ships chased down the fleeing Zarkathi. One enemy ship tried to cloak, but the humans had developed a way to detect them. A direct hit tore the ship apart. On the ground, Alex's team reached the central plaza. It was once a peaceful place with fountains and gardens. Now it was burned and blackened. A large Zarkathi war machine stood at the center. It was tall and heavy, with many weapons. "We need backup," Alex said. "We can't take that thing alone." Laura's voice came through. "Hold position. Air support is coming." 2 Earth gunships flew low and fast. Missiles launched from their wings and struck the machine. It shook and fired wildly, but another round of missiles brought it down. Alex moved forward, signaling his team. They cleared the rest of the plaza and raised the Earth flag. It was a sign to all watching. This city was free. In a secret command post deep underground, the Zarkothi leader watched the fight. His red eyes narrowed. He spoke to his officers. They came from a forgotten world. They fight harder than expected. One of his guards asked, "Should we retreat?" "No," he growled. "We still hold parts of the city. We will crush their spirit." But that hope did not last long. Earth's ships began to drop supplies for the Virilons. Water, food, medicine. Doctors and engineers followed. While soldiers cleared the way, others began to rebuild. On a small hill outside the city, Nora and her team watched the supply ships land. "We're doing more than fighting," Mason said. "We're giving them their world back." Nora nodded. "And we're just getting started." Far above them, the horizon moved to the edge of orbit. Laura watched the planet grow smaller on her screen. She turned to her officers. "Begin Phase 2. We take out the last enemy bases on the planet. Then we go after their fleet." Admiral Briggs gave his approval. The battle was not over, but the tide had turned. Earth had shown its strength and its heart. News of the battle spread fast across the stars. Many who once ignored Earth now spoke its name with new respect. Some feared it, some wanted to ally with it, but no one doubted it anymore. And as the Earth fleet moved forward, every human soldier knew the truth. They had answered the call that no one else would, and now they would finish what they started.